What's up gamers, my name's Fox. In this video I'm going to show you how to drastically increase your experience with your HUD in Final Fantasy XIV. We're going to talk about a more casual oriented HUD, and then we're going to talk about a raid layout, and lastly about a trick that you might not know that's really cool, so stay tuned. If you're into keybinds and skill placement, that's a different thing. We're going to talk about that in a different video. It is super important, and if you're already on this whole HUD thing, definitely check it out, because having the right keybinds and having the right placement of your skills is super vital to your raid experience. But first we're going to talk about the HUD layout, as I just mentioned. So the first thing is a casual layout. Now, as you can see, I call this my casual layout. What is a casual layout? It's basically a layout where we have access to everything we need. So maybe your HUD layout already looks similar to mine here, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's similar to this, where I'm just going to enable 3 hotbars quickly, because I see this kind of stuff a lot when I look at screenshots, streamers, YouTube videos, whatever, that people have a million buttons all across their screen. And let me tell you, you don't need any of that. You really don't. Not that you don't want to have access to them. You do. That's great and I support it. But the problem is that you don't need to have it displayed this way, because this is obnoxious. It's not necessary. So what we're going to do is we're going to use foldable hotbars. If you haven't heard about it, it's amazing and you should definitely use it. There's a video, I'm going to link it in the description, where I talked about this and how to create them. But foldable hotbars basically put a full hotbar into one button. And the way it does, it works with macro, it's a form of magic, but basically this star button here will open up a menu of all DPS classes I have, basically. Crazy, right? So all of these are available. Now if I click again on it, I have all tanks and healers here, and blue mage, and if I click again, I have access to all crafters and gatherers, basically from one button click. And the same is here for emotes, and I have macros to greet people in a dungeon. So definitely swap over to foldable hotbars. They're going to make your experience amazing. Your screen will be less cluttered. Goodbye big hotbars that no one actually needs here. Like, this is a game changer. And then lastly, before we start talking about how to create your raid layout, there's another neat trick that you might not know, but basically you can put anything in this menu when you press P. It is for me, I think it should be for you too, as you can, drag your stuff on here, right? You can drag your abilities on there. You can also drag anything else. You can drag anything from this on your hotbar. If you're someone that like to, do a lot of like desynth or something, desynthesis here, you put it on your bar somewhere. If you, like to have other things like your adventurer plate, your chocobo saddleback, very important. I have it actually on here because I'm a fisher and I need to tackle, right? There is a lot of things like G-pose, anything from here, from this whole menu. I don't know, ready check and countdown for a tank maybe. Party find if you look a lot for parties. Like anything on this can be put on here. For example, I have also my sound settings here, right? Because you can drag this even too on your hotbar. Anything that's like a button here, you can drag on your hotbar and access the menu instantly if you didn't know that. Even the HUD layout here can be accessed that way instantly. So that's obviously amazing. Something, maybe you want to have the exit game button that you can press and instantly leave. But you can drag those on your hotbars. So anyway, let's now talk about a good layout for raiding. Now you have your casual layout done, you have foldable hotbars, you now have a lot of space. That's great and amazing. Now we need to talk about how to actually go on about creating your other parts of your HUD layout, like things like target bars, debuffs, buffs, and your hotbars, of course, most importantly. Now the philosophy when it comes to creating a HUD layout is quite simple. It's basically put everything in a box at the bottom of your screen, or at the top of your screen if you're into that, I guess. But basically keep everything close to the middle part of your screen. Now, when we raid, we have most of our time, our eyes locked onto this part of the screen, because you want to look at mechanics, at targets, whatever is there, we want to look at it. And the idea behind your HUD layout is that you should have everything as close as possible to this part of your screen. If you have to move your eyes upwards and downwards all the time, you're going to get fatigue. Your eyes are going to get actually much faster tired, and you're going to perform worse quicker. And in general, it's actually much worse. The reason I'm saying this is because most people that play this game are not at a point where they can press their buttons completely without looking at them. If you are, congrats, you mastered the game. I'm not myself at all. So I look a lot at my hotbar still. I look at my cooldowns and everything. And this is something super important to have everything in a part of the screen that your eyes can reach very easily. The rule we follow here is that anything important goes into the square. Is that for you, for example, your minimap? I personally don't think it's as important. You can consider it important, and then we just take our minimap and put it into the square here. Maybe we'll make it a bit smaller here because it is not quite big. So we're gonna turn down that size and we put it right here, because maybe you like to look at your minimap to orientate yourself. Maybe you struggle with it a bit more than I do. In that case, put it right there. You definitely want to have your enemy list there, because it also has a target bar and it has also casts that come outside of a specific target. So definitely have your enemy list close to your, all the rest. And then you have, for example, your party list. Obviously, you can't see that right now because I'm not in a party. But if I have it very far away from this square, I have it barely touching the square. But if I be a tank or a healer, in order to be able to see more what my co-tank does or what my healers do, or my co-healer in this case, I would absolutely make this a bit smaller and put it closer. You can even also make it bigger if you want to, but then it will occupy a lot of your screen. For example, right here, you can put it right here. Anything that works for you that puts it closer, maybe even here, this works too. That's a bit annoying to me personally, but definitely put it then closer. This is like one example of how you could arrange things, right? Don't just copy my layout. Try to think what's important for me, what do I need to see, and how do I want to rate, basically. So this is now the changed, basically, hotbar layout or HUD layout. Then obviously you need your gauges. You can put them right there. You can put them in between your bars. For example, if I make this a little bit smaller here at 80% or even 60%, I mean, my side isn't that great anymore, but I can put it right in between my hotbars here and I have it there. This is super small to me, like this is too small now, but it's just as an example. If I make everything bigger, I will be able to fit it in there bigger too, obviously. Then one of the most important things that actually is buffs and debuffs. So if I use a buff, you will see it appear right there, and it looks very random, but it isn't. If I target this, you will see that my target bar is here at the bottom. And usually when you start the game, you will have your target bar right here at the top, I believe. And that's a horrible placement because, again, eye movement, upwards, down, horrible, not good. You can put it there if you put all the debuffs at the bottom. But the reason I have here the bar is because I want to see what I target in case there's multiple targets. And also in case of a target bar, like the bar if a cast is happening, obviously they are not necessarily together, but it just makes more sense to me and my brain to see also the target bar. So I like to have it here, because another reason why is because I have the debuffs right below it, so it's very easily visible to basically attribute the debuff here to the target, right? It's very easy to understand this debuff belongs to this target and my buffs are above it. Now, obviously this is not as logical, but it still at some point made sense to me to put it right here. My negative buffs would be on the right side, so they would be right above my name here, right? If you go into the HUD layout settings, you will see here status info and treatments actually below, my bad, they're below here, below my name. So this is how I have it set up. Progress bar is obviously when you're a caster. It's also very important to have that very visible if you cast anything, to be in your screen. I don't know, do I have like a caster here? Do I have Red Mage? I'm sorry, I'm now in combat, I cannot change. But anything that is important, let me change game, needs to be in that square. As you can see, super perfectly centered there, especially if you're someone that wants to slide cast right. You want to then have it visible and not too far away. You could even put it like here or something. Definitely make sure to have important things as close to the middle as possible. Now, why do I not put my hotbar there? Because that's just obnoxious at some point. So don't put the whole hotbars there. I mean, you could technically see it, but I wouldn't do it. Now, the reason you also see here some things are not working out, that's because I play on ultra wide usually, so things are a bit more squished right now, but that's okay for the video, that works out. Things I don't consider important are, for example, your HP and P bar. They are important if you play something like Black Mage or Healer or Tank maybe. Tank less important again, but as a DPS you will also have the heal, the bar above your head, right? If you lose HP, I don't know, it should pop up, but it doesn't, because I need to put it back on, I believe, right? so that I get the HP back, I believe. Yeah, there you go. See, you now see your HP bar there. So unless you need access to your MP bar, you don't need to see this anyway. This is not very important. Experience bar, all of this is unimportant. And that's going to be my next talking point. But quickly before that, I nearly forgot this now. If you struggle with managing cooldowns, right? If you don't see them well enough because you don't want to have your hotbar very big or something, well, you can always create a hotbar that's similar to this. I made this earlier, where you track big cooldowns and you have it closer to you. Again, here is the focal point of your gameplay. It's right here in the middle. And this way you still see it in your field of view when you are actively attacking or something. Your cooldowns are very trackable this way. Don't be afraid to do something like this, especially if you start learning a new class, or if you're just someone who keeps forgetting to press certain cooldowns. If you're a healer that needs to press their cooldown or something, or anything here can be, it's always super nice to have this, maybe for 10 cooldowns, anything can be put on here. It's great. Definitely make use of it if you feel like it. Now, what I was talking about earlier is that all these things that I feel like are unnecessary when it comes to raiding. Like I said, my HP bar, this is for me personally, is unnecessary. I will see it above my head if I lose HP. I don't need to keep track of my MP at all. So I need this gone. I need my experience bar gone. I don't need my inventory during a raid. You know, there's a lot of things I don't need during a raid, right? And how do we achieve this? It's quite easy, actually. We basically create a second HUD layout. So I'm gonna, I'm actually not gonna save this because I wanna, oh, well, my HUD is now, because I saved it. Oh, I have to remake my HUD after this video. That's okay. We're then going to use the one I just created. So we're going to go into a HUD layout menu. We're going to use HUD layout settings, and we're going to copy it to a new slot. This is once you're done with your so-called casual layout that's built up, that you enjoy, that you think looks great. Then we copy it onto a second HUD layout, right? Copy layout 1 to slot 2. Voila. And then we also need to make sure that we're actually using HUD layout 2. So here we use HUD layout 2. Now we're going to go over the things that I believe are unimportant. Like, for example, my duty list. I don't need to see it. I don't need to see my specific hotbar. I don't need to see item help, inventory grid. I don't need to see my guild, the experience bar. I mean, you can leave it on if you're leveling, for example. Like I said, the parameter bar is useless. And here the rest is, yeah, you can argue about alliance raid and stuff like that. But this is what is unimportant. So you're going to save this and suddenly, oh my god, this looks a lot better already. We have less screen clutter. We only have our chat, who's now pretty big. So chat doesn't adjust, unfortunately. You can, I think, adjust the size. No, you can't even adjust the size. It's unfortunate. So I would then make chat a bit smaller in this case for a raid layout. But it goes pretty quick, right? If you're on PC, right? You can just like do this. And then I would, of course, also move this main menu bar somewhere else because this is very triggering. Oh my god, much better. And then I will then create another hotbar, which is in this case my hotbar 5. I'm going to enable this, and I have here a button on there and my food button, because my food button is still important, right? I need to apply food. In case you didn't notice, right, we talked about these debuffs earlier. My food buff is a buff that is important to me, but not important enough to be actually on my hotbar here. So I have it displayed here, right? If you don't know how to do this, you go quickly into your HUD layout and you go to, what is it called? Enhancements, and on the wheel, you can then change how they are actually being treated. Split element, never do display as a single element. Just don't do it. Just go through this idea of splitting them into different groups. It is much better. It is really, really good. I definitely suggest you to do this. Just mess around with it. It's amazing, this tool, like not this tool, but this setting. It's really great. That way I have it so that my other buffs that are not important are displayed up here. For example, FC buffs or food buff. They're just going to be here because I don't need to see it all the time down here. I want to see it still doing raid, but I don't want to see it right here. And then now the question is, how do we swap so quickly from a, casual layout like this to a raid layout? Now, what else you can do in the raid layout, obviously, I'm sorry, I keep jumping a little bit, is that, for example, now we removed all these things. So maybe you want to make things a little bit bigger now, right? Maybe you say, oh, well, I need to see my stuff a bit better. So I want to just like, enhance things a little bit here, make it a bit bigger. This looks awful now. And this is just for demonstration purposes, but damn, this looks bad. But basically what we're doing here is that we're just making a layout for rate settings. And in order to swap as quickly as I do here, as you can tell, like boom, boom, very quick, obviously it's macro work again. We just make two macros, one that's called rate HUD with HUD layout 2. In case we press this, it will swap to our HUD layout 2, which we're currently on, and then one that says HUD layout 1. Execute it, and boom, we're back to the other layout. So this is something that is awesome and something I really suggest doing. It takes a little bit of work to set up, but once you have it set up, just pressing one button, wrong button, if you go into rate, again, this looks atrocious, but it's just for demonstration purposes now. It will make your life a lot easier doing rate. You will notice how you will significantly improve when you have more screen space doing your rate. And something like, you can even hide this if you want to. I personally also usually would hide this because I don't need access to it. You can just press something like P and have access to everything, kind of, if you really need something, right? Like most things are available here too. Or if you know the shortcut, you don't even need anything else. So that's definitely what I suggest doing. Set up two HUDs, one as your main HUD with all of your foldable, hopefully foldable hotbars, because it's going to enhance your experience a lot more. And then have a second HUD set up for rating specifically. Now I'm going to show you one last trick before we're done, which is super nice, and it only works if you have a controller. Not if you play with controller, but if you have one, because this whole video is about mouse and keyboard, right? But if you have a controller, I'm going to turn mine on, so don't mind the sound that you will hear now. A controller allows you to actually position your bars a lot better. If you use the, I don't know what they're called, the small pad on the controller, you can move them really nicely. As you can see, you can move it pixel perfect here. I never managed to do it as good with my mouse as I do it with this controller. It's insane. Like when I discovered this, I was like, why do controller people get such a big advantage over me playing mouse and keyboard? And you can really adjust it perfectly. You can use any element. You know, I'm gonna go on my Dragoon gauge now. Obviously, I'm gonna make it a bit bigger again here because I made it really small. And then I just, you know, when I click on it again, I just move it here with my controller, and I can move it so nicely and precise. It's amazing, really. If you're like me, this is going to be a game changer for you. I genuinely love this. I am a huge fan of using my controller to set up my HUD layout. So yeah, a small trick that you might not have known. And I think that would be everything. Now make sure, of course, to in your rate layout, like for example, I don't have limit break on this right now, so I would have to obviously put on limit break. So I'm again going to go into my actions, and I'm going to I think where even is limit break? I think general, yeah, here you go, general, right? And don't forget to also have like duty action somewhere good on your screen and stuff like that. You can also use, I don't know what else you would use here, jump. Wow, I didn't know that's something you can. I didn't know you could bind jump. That's a bit funny. I'm sorry, I just discovered this now. That's crazy. You get the idea. I hope, of course, that this video was very helpful to you. I hope you learned something on how to create your HUD and what ideas to follow. Again, I don't really suggest you just to copy my HUD layout, which you can if you want to. I'm just going to put it up here at the end of the video in case you want to copy it again. But I suggest you to find something that works for you, something that you need to, you know, have. Some things are easier for some people than it is for others. For example, I don't need the minimap here. I have no problems with tracking where I am in the arena, for example, but maybe I struggle with some, you know, cooldown management. So I'm going to have my cooldowns enabled here. Maybe I don't. Everyone needs their own tailored hotbar. Everyone should have their own tailored hotbar, and you shouldn't just copy paste it, right? That's very important. And you might wonder, why do I have this split here? Well, that's very interesting because it's just basically a mental split of my hotbar. It's not aesthetically, actually. It is more for a mental idea. Something that has a reason. But if you want to know more about this, you should definitely go watch my video about keybinds and, you know, your skill layout on your hotbars, because it is actually super important, and it is super helpful. If you're already on this idea, make sure to go check it out. Again, also the foldable hotbar video, game changer, really is a game changer. So yeah, I hope you learned something today. I hope you are able to set up a better hotbar or HUD layout rather in this video. I hope it was nice. You learned some tricks maybe. And yeah, let me know. Maybe, you know, link me some pictures of your new improved HUD layout compared to your old one. I would be more than happy to see pictures of that, because I love looking at HUD layouts because people get so creative with these things. I'm not very creative. I'm just very, everything has its place. That's it. There's no creativity. It's just like, clean. That's it. So let me know what you thought about the video. If you liked it, of course, make sure to leave a like. And yeah, that would be it for now. So I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.